Howdy there, Isaac here. We left off with the last part with Tambourine absolutely decimating the Guinea force, and Jace promising to get revenge for his comrades. Without further ado, let's see what may have happened if Tambourine survived. Story starts now. It had been a couple hours since Tambourine passed out, and while the Namekians were hesitant, Dende ultimately healed him. Though he never awoke, something Mori was thankful for. After seeing that ominous key and the immense spike in power, they couldn't risk unleashing that on the remaining elders and children. Whilst Tambourine was out of commission, Spice took command, and figured the best thing to do was find another location to hide and make their wish. The remaining handful of Namekians decided to make their way towards one of the villages, something Spice suggested since Frieza likely wouldn't search there again. With that, Vinegar carried Tambourine while they flew towards the village, everyone on high alert due to Jace's threat. But that wasn't all, as they could still sense the dark key within Tambourine, and he was tossing and turning the whole trip, as if having a nightmare. The crew did make sure he was comfy at one of the Namekian houses, but sometime during the trip a fever seemed to begin, though Mori said it was no sickness. When confronted on the matter, the elders said the darkness was trying to take over Tambourine, something they had seen prior. If said evil did end up taking over, Frieza wouldn't be their only problem. If it were up to Mori, Tambourine would be exiled, if not executed, despite that being a barbaric act to the Namekians. Spice wouldn't let that happen though. He trusted the demonic Namekian and instead focused on making their wishes, since Guru had very little time left. Just as Goku and the others arrived, Purunga was summoned, having him bring Salt, Peppa, and Chaozu back, meaning Yamcha would have to stay in the afterlife for just a little while longer. Spice is excited that his teammates were revived, but is soon dismayed as he has to relay what happened during their time on Namek. Goku and the others listen patiently, especially Piccolo, who takes the time to look after his brother. While everyone else is coming up with a plan, the Namekian watches his brother toss and turn within a bed. Piccolo had thrown away the concept of a normal family long ago, but even so, he put a hand on his brother's shoulder and told him everything would be fine. After that, Tambourine seemed to calm down, if only a little bit, though the fever still hadn't broken. From there, Piccolo left and basked in the Namekian sun, taking in the landscape, the architecture, everything his father had forgotten or failed to pass on to him. This place was rather peaceful, reminding Piccolo of the places he often trained in. But all of this would have to wait, as the group felt a rather powerful spike in power, them assuming it was Frieza getting angry. And indeed, they were right, as Jace had finally made it back to the Emperor's ship and told him of their ordeal. Oh great, not only were his own men useless, but even the Ginyus were outclassed by this demon. Well, if the soldiers were useless, Frieza would just do it himself. Luckily, Jace wasn't offed, but he was told to recover the Dragon Balls once the Z-fighters were taken care of. Not to mention, he had to lead Frieza to wherever they were seen last. Jace eagerly led the tyrant towards the cave, something which only irritated Frieza when noticing nobody was there. However, he wouldn't have to wait long, as the Z-fighters came to him. Garlic, being the overconfident oaf he is, charged the tyrant, launching a garlic bomb point blank in his face. However, from the very brief exchange Garlic and Frieza had, Goku and Vegeta could tell this wasn't going to end well. They knew Frieza had around 5 or so times the power they did, and even with Kaioken they'd have a hard time beating him. But not all was lost, as back in Guru's tower the Elder had come up with a plan. Knowing his time was up, Guru ordered Nail to seek out the Namekian known as Piccolo, ordering the guard to fuse with him, it being their only chance for survival. Nail refused to do so, but Guru, being quite old and no longer needing to live for the Dragon Balls, relaxed and faded away, passing from this world. With nobody to protect, and his last order being to seek out Piccolo, Nail did as he was told, but the decision to fuse would be his at the end of the day. Once arriving at the battlefield though, Nail's stubbornness began to fade. Frieza had decimated the Z-fighters, having killed Garlic and was on the verge of doing so to Vegeta, while Goku and Piccolo were laying on the floor. Everyone else could hardly move, only able to watch as their friends were being tortured, all while Frieza cackled. Now, don't go dying on me, Vegeta. I need to repay you for this little rebellion. After all, I'm sure it was you who told them all about my operation here. However, I'm sure you now regret that decision, and you'll continue to regret it for. And that's when another garlic bomb hit Frieza's back, blowing his armor clean off, causing the Emperor to look back and fire another beam into Garlic's chest. However, he instantly healed from it this time, a big grin on his face. Frieza, thinking this person stole his wish for immortality, became furious, letting go of Vegeta before starting to torture Garlic. During this distraction, Dende ran out and healed the Z-fighters, making both Vegeta and Goku much stronger, while all Piccolo could do was scoff, figuring that ability was wasted on him. However, Nail soon approaches, saying he was the one who ordered Dende to heal him, as they'd need it for what came next. Piccolo was confused, but Nail didn't bother elaborating, simply putting a hand on Piccolo's shoulder and fusing into him, causing a massive power spike, something which blew Frieza's scouter to bits. But this sudden power spike didn't only affect the Z-fighters, everyone on Namek could sense it, including Tambourine. While everyone had been planning to take on Frieza, the demon had been trapped within a dream, one seemingly controlled by an old enemy. Tambourine had been wondering within what he could only think was his own mind, though a dark purple mist rolled within the darkness around him. Sinister laughter echoed all around him as memories flashed within his mind. This wasn't atypical, as these were the memories his father had gifted him upon birth. However, sprinkled within said memories were new ones. Sights, sounds, and smells Tambourine had never experienced before. These weren't his own, nor the ones his father gifted, at least not that he could tell. However, when seeing Roshi, Kid Goku, and even Kami, well, things quickly became apparent. Before Tambourine could say anything, a figure stirred within the purple clouds. That's right, these are my own memories, son. And from within the mist, King Piccolo emerged. Back on the battlefield, Frieza had immediately transformed into his second form, since the last number he saw before his scouter exploded was 1 million. Both Goku and Vegeta had tried fighting this form, and while their Zenkai had increased their power, they still didn't stand a chance. However, Vegeta was completely fine with this. He practically ordered Goku and Piccolo to stay back, letting himself get beaten and battered by the tyrant. Frieza even going as far as to stab Vegeta with his horn, akin to what he did to Krillin in the original. But, as confident as Vegeta was, when he once again returned, fully healed and acting all cocky, Frieza knew someone, or something, was healing them. However, Piccolo was up next to challenge the tyrant, and this fight went far differently. Frieza would go in for a punch, only for Piccolo to easily dodge and backhand the ice sling, breaking his nose with only one hit. After the initial shock from taking such damage, Frieza went for another hit, but this time, Piccolo had no mercy. When the Emperor swung his fist, the Namekian grabbed said arm and ripped it clean off, before blasting him into a nearby hill. He was about to finish the Emperor off when Vegeta flew in, telling him Frieza was his to kill. As the two got into a quick spat, Frieza unleashed his third form and attempted to blitz Piccolo, and while they were on much more even ground, Frieza still didn't have the advantage. From the sidelines, Goku and Vegeta noticed Piccolo was acting different. While he was fighting with just as much strategy, he wasn't taunting or mocking his opponent, acting with brutality, yet staying stoic. In Piccolo's own mind, he felt far more focused, feeling an intense hatred for the tyrant and wanting nothing more than his death. But he was also calm at the same time. The excitement of battle wasn't getting to him as it usually did, nor was the power difference. It was strange, but he'd have time to think about that later. Frieza kept trying to fall back, likely to transform once more, so Piccolo kept pressing the attack, using every move he had to prevent the tyrant from getting even a second's break. By this point, Frieza was in a panic, doing everything he could to create space, yet nothing seemed to work. Finally, the Emperor began firing as many beams as he could, with the Namekian having to focus on parrying them, though a few made it past him, striking Vegeta and a newly resurrected Garlic. While this failed to distract Piccolo, when Dende moved from his hiding spot to go rescue them, a different villain noticed the child. While everyone was watching the epic fight before them, they failed to notice Jace and Zarbon sneaking around. The two had also noticed Vegeta's miraculous ability to heal. At first they thought he had immortality, although Zarbon said if that was the case, he'd be flaunting it in front of Frieza. Once they confirmed Dende was the healer, they snuck behind his hiding spot and held him hostage, this catching the Super Namekian's attention. When seeing Dende struggling and kicking in the arms of Zarbon, Piccolo felt a great sense of concern, something akin to how he felt for Gohan in the original, though he didn't know why. This further confused and distracted him, allowing Frieza to transform into his fourth form. Once said transformation was done, Lord Frieza sent a beam straight through Piccolo's chest, before aiming a finger towards Dende. However, Vegeta charged in and began smacking him around. Whilst the prince did very little damage, he was stronger than his anime counterpart, him being around 10 million since he got an extra Zenkai from the earlier death beam. While Frieza was tired of fighting, when he noticed just how weak Vegeta was compared to him, and thinking he already killed Piccolo, the tyrant decided to begin toying with his prey. Much like in the original, Vegeta began getting tortured and beaten. Goku would try to help, using Kaioken to momentarily distract the Emperor, but that's all it was, a distraction. Soon, both Saiyans were out of commission, and nobody could wake Piccolo. Back in Tambourine's mindscape, the demon wasn't faring much better than his friends. In the mindscape, their physical strength mattered not, and King Piccolo's willpower was akin to steel. The two had fought back and forth for what seemed like hours, and Tambourine was quickly tiring, while his father seemed just fine. "You're just as weak as you were before, but that makes sense, as I never made you to be strong, just to serve as my foot soldier," the king taunted. "Oh, I'm far stronger than you could ever imagine," Tambourine yelled, attempting to amp himself up. "Oh, my dear boy, I thought I once knew what true strength was too, but after witnessing my own death and much meditation, I've finally discovered the true power of a demon, our evil itself." The purple mist began stirring, growing in size and turning into giant thunderclouds. King Piccolo laughed before pointing out the ominous purple aura around Tambourine. "And it seems you, too, have inherited a part of my power. That old man, he unlocked something within us, Tambourine. Something amazing. Something that's allowing me to talk to you now. Why don't you give in? Use my power to kill Frieza and take his place. I won't just be a king, no. I'll be an emperor." Tambourine then remembered what he did. He had killed someone. Sure, they were evil and were actively massacring civilians, but he still killed them. He had the power to knock them all out, but he didn't. During that fight, all Tambourine could think of was ending them, causing them great pain and sorrow before their agonizing death. He had truly turned into a demon back there. When things got tough, he acted just like his father. King Piccolo knew his son was beginning to break, and took the opportunity to reinforce that these were, indeed, all his actions, that deep down he did what he always wanted to do. While Tambourine knew he was being manipulated, there was a hint of truth in these words. When he fought Tien, Raditz, and even Vegeta, he had thought about ending them. Perhaps that was the essence of King Piccolo talking to him even back then. Or perhaps he really was just like Piccolo and his father, a demon. The Namekian wished Piano was here, wished he could consult his brother about this. He knew if the pterodactyl were here, he'd know exactly what to say. But as things were now, Tambourine was alone. King Piccolo reached out towards his son, eager to make a deal. You can sense it. The immense power of your friends, the danger that they face, and the fact that they'll die. You won't be able to leave without my consent, but all you have to do is accept my power and use it on Frieza. Tambourine was hesitant. He didn't trust his father, not one bit, but what choice was there? Even in this state, he could sense Frieza beating Goku and Vegeta. Yet still, Tambourine hesitated, hoping that somehow his friends would win. That was until he felt Dende's power suddenly fade, instantly snuffed out, like he had never even existed. Tambourine could handle losing Piccolo, or one of the other Z-fighters, but Dende? He was just a child, someone without the power to even defend himself against Jace, let alone Frieza. Why the hell would someone that strong even give someone so weak the time of day, other than just for sport? And then it hit Tambourine. To Frieza, at this point, all of them were nothing but toys, simple tools to fulfill his sadistic games. They were nothing in the grand scope of things. Tambourine was nothing to Frieza. He reached out towards King Piccolo, shadow covering his eyes as they shook. Come on, son. Let's go save your friends. Piccolo sneered, but his son cared not. The building Tambourine was sleeping in suddenly exploded as a large purple aura forced its way out. The remaining Namekians only saw a shadow with red glowing eyes within the cloud, but the elders all knew who this was. He had given into the darkness, and now he was truly a demon. But that's where we're going to be leaving things off for right now. If you guys enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate you merging into the like button, or maybe even accepting the subscribe button's evil power. Trust me, there's no ill side effects, and don't mind that suspicious dark key surrounding you and you having the inclination to watch more of my videos. That's not a bad side effect, right? Anyways, I'm recording this in advance, but I'm positive the channel will have grown since then. So for everyone currently subscribed and who did subscribe, thank you guys. While I haven't had much time to write scripts recently, it's felt like they just sort of write themselves, especially with this one. Whew, this one. Yeah, definitely following up on what happened last time. Anyways, I've been enjoying my writing a lot more, which basically means I can write more easily. All this to say, I should be able to get out one video per week for sure. Hopefully I can also work on some other projects like video discussions where I talk about Dragon Ball or other anime or media. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, thank you guys once again just for getting to this part of the video and listening to me talk semi off script. Have a good day or night wherever you are. That's it for now. Bye bye.